Hi.
How you doing?
Good, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
We got a call just basically that you were just reporting vehicles throughout I guess that we're driving around the IBC.
Okay, what happened?
I'm sorry?
What happened?
What happened?
Yeah, what happened?
It was just that we had received a call that you were reporting vehicles while they were passing by the IBC.
Okay.
Are you from the area?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have an idea on you just at dispatch knows that I'm in contact with you?
This is a consensual encounter?
No, we actually got a call.
How come it's not consensual?
Well, because we had parties that were asking for me to check out with you.
Is there a crime being broken?
No, there isn't.
So it's consensual then, right?
Well, it's not consensual because if it's consensual, then that would be just me making contact with you without me being dispatched to you.
Well, since there's not a crime, then you have no investigation, right?
Well, no, it is that's the reason why I'm here. I didn't know that you were standing behind the IBC bank.
The suspicion of crime?
No, it's not.
So you have no reason to be here, right?
No, I do. I'm advising you that I got a call.
Oh, okay. So I think what you would do is make contact with them then.
No, because I don't know.
Oh. So you just got an anonymous call?
Dispatch, just dispatch.
Okay. Well, I don't really give ID.
Well, you're required to right now because obviously I got a call. It's not a consensual encounter.
I'm only required to give ID. I believe it's 3802 Penal Code. I'm only required to give ID if I'm lawfully arrested. I'm not lawfully arrested.
Well, no. Obviously, if you're arrested, then yes,
right.
Obviously you're required to give your information.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm trying to make you understand is this isn't a casual encounter. I just didn't drive by here and just say, hey, okay, let me check out this guy. That's not what happened.
This video shows a tense situation that highlights how police officers can sometimes misunderstand or misapply the law they're supposed to enforce. From the beginning, two officers contradict each other, but still insist that a man must hand over his ID, even though there's no clear evidence he committed any crime. The whole situation starts with an anonymous and unclear call, yet that alone puts the citizen under suspicion. Instead of acting on solid proof, the officers rely on assumption, and they can't even agree on whether the interaction is voluntary or not. What follows is a confusing and chaotic exchange that raises serious questions about how well the law is being understood and applied in real life.
Okay, so
I didn't know that you were out here.
You're right.
Okay.
So in terms of your investigation was a suspicious person.
Yeah, that's how the call came. And obviously you're not doing anything wrong. I mean, I can see that you're just standing here with your phone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not. You know what I mean?
So
and
why
you're not
would,
in any trouble.
I mean, I wouldn't know that. If I surrender my Fourth Amendment, I could be wanted. Then I'd be surrender of Fourth Amendment, then I could be in trouble.
In trouble for what?
I'm just saying, in hypothetical scenarios, we watch cops all the time, right? It still comes on TV. When someone surrenders their Fourth Amendment, such as their ID, you guys run that through NCIS, and then you go, or ASIS, you're right, and you run their system, their information is look for warrants. So now they surrendered their Fourth Amendment, then they're subject to arrest.
Okay, so do you understand the reason why I'm here?
Yeah,
I totally understand that, but that would be like in a whole different circumstance, right? This isn't a traffic stop or anything like that.
Right.
It's not a casual encounter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can just provide me information. We did get a call that you were out here recording vehicles. Again, you're not committing any crime.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is that I got dispatched here.
Okay. No rings. You're not married?
No, sir.
Why not?
No need to be.
No need to be? Oh, wow. Woo.
If you don't mind, I'll be out of your hair. It's kind of hot out here, and you can continue.
Hey, it's a good shade. Look at this shade tree. Unfortunately, I cannot assist you with your investigation. That's not my job. I'm not going to do that. So even identifying me will be assisting you with your investigation.
Well, the thing is that I don't know you personally.
Not supposed to. I'm a private citizen.
Yeah, of course. So
right. What
I'm saying is I got dispatched here.
Well, you got to know.
So it's not a consensual encounter, right? You do have to identify, is what I'm saying.
I don't have to identify.
Because it isn't a
How long you been an officer?
A few years.
Few years.
The man stays calm and keeps asking basic questions, like whether he has committed any crime, but the officers struggle to give a clear answer. One claims the situation isn't voluntary because of a dispatch call, while the other mixes up ideas about suspicion and legal duties. It turns into a back-and-forth argument, with each officer trying to justify their actions without clearly explaining the law. The man isn't aggressive and isn't breaking any rules, yet the situation escalates as the officers start demanding his ID, mentioning legal codes, running checks, and even talking about possible arrest. This is where things become risky, because when those enforcing the law don't fully understand it, a simple interaction can quickly turn into a violation of someone's rights.
You know, I got a question. This is hypothetical speaking. This is not, I'm not insinuating nothing. This is a hypothetical conversation. When officers encounter a member of the public, and a member of the public explains to them their right. Okay.
I can hear you. I can multitask.
Okay. Name?
How's it going? Officer Mugia.
Badge number?
747.
747. What was your badge number? 747. Okay, just like a hypothetical question. I'm not insinuating nothing, but when officers encounter a member of the public, and the member of the public state their rights or a penal code, why do officers never think that they're police? Is it because there's a code of conduct that says if you're a police, you wouldn't do this? If you're a police, you wouldn't be out here with a camera doing what you're doing. Is that like an internal thought process?
I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't even know.
Wow. So no one. So when I rewind this and play this, you're saying I gave an incomplete sentence?
That's not what I'm saying, sir.
Well, then why don't you know what I'm talking about?
So right now we're obviously you're going off topic, right?
I'm supposed to, because you have no reason to be here.
I do. I just explained that to you. We got a phone call,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just somebody concerned. That's all it is, right?
And now you're here.
And now I'm here. So it's not a consensual encounter, like I mentioned. I just didn't drive by here and decide to talk to you.
You did.
I didn't. I actually got here. So
It's a little too loud for us to just roll by and talk to people.
we just came into shift anyway. So
Well, the reason I say you did is because no one gave you a citation of a law being broken or a policy being broken. Therefore, for you to drive past and observe, you observe the suspicious person, which is me. You see no crime. You was given no crime.
no.
And you observe the suspicious person, which is me. And since you observed the suspicious person,
Yeah, I got you. No,
hey, y'all body cameras rolling?
yeah.
Okay.
Like she just finished.
The whole interaction is full of confusion, with the officers even disagreeing with each other, while the man calmly points out their contradictions. When he asks, "If I give you my ID, will you run it?" and they say no, he questions why they're demanding it in the first place. This goes beyond wordplay. It's about basic civil rights. The officers mention things like service calls and reasonable suspicion, but struggle to clearly explain what those actually mean or what the law requires. Meanwhile, the man stays calm and firm, standing up for his rights and exposing a serious gap between how the law is supposed to work and how it's being applied. What should be a situation focused on protecting citizens instead turns into a confusing display of misinformation.
We just got a call, right? So whenever we get a call, you're matching description, we just, come say what's up, right? Make sure you're good. You know what I mean?
But listen, I want to have a lower level conversation real quick. This is my hypothetical question. Why is it that when officers are called to the scene, even if it's not a crime, like what I'm doing right now, why is it that when you engage with a member of the public, when the member of the public state their rights, and if I state penal code, if I state case law, why is it that police officers never think, is he a police officer? It's almost like you guys just be like, he's not a lawyer, he's not a police officer, whatever he's saying. Why is it that type of posture?
Yeah, no, I mean, we listen to people, right? It's a part of our job, every single day. When people are right, I tell them, okay, you're right. You know what I mean?
Okay, now watch this. Is this a consensual encounter?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Just because it's a call for service.
Right, because it's a call for service.
Yeah.
But when it's a call for service, you guys are here to enforce the law.
Not necessarily.
Then what else do you enforce?
So reasonable suspicion, right?
What's reasonable?
Reasonable?
That's articulable reason
It's
suspicion.
what a reasonable person would believe. You know what I mean?
Is that a penal code reason?
It's in the penal code.
It says articulable suspicion that a crime is being committed or about to be committed.
I don't know the definition textbook off my head, right? But reasonable suspicion, probable cause, they're all different levels.
Right.
But like I said, call for service, usually just reasonable suspicion. You know what I mean? It's not probable cause, right? It's not probable cause.
So that's what probable cause me ID. But that's not what she's saying. We're still here because she's saying I have to ID.
Oh, that's my call, right?
No.
Officer in charge here.
She's officer in charge?
Yeah.
But you still have a duty to correct any erroneous mistakes.
At this point, The tension keeps building as the man uses simple examples to challenge the officers and point out their conflicting statements. He questions why, when he explains the law, it's brushed off as rambling, while the officers give unclear and inconsistent answers. One officer avoids giving a direct response, saying she sees things differently, while the other keeps repeating vague reasons without explaining them properly. No one stops to check the actual law or correct themselves. They rely on assumptions instead. Throughout it all, the man remains calm, logical, and well-informed, yet the officers continue to misstate what the law requires. The situation highlights an uncomfortable truth. Wearing a uniform doesn't always mean the law is fully understood or applied correctly.
So
I don't see any mistakes going on here. Right?
You just said I don't have the ID. I just told you she said I have to. Now you say you don't see a mistake?
Well, that's her call. Maybe she sees something that I don't.
I don't know what to call you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. How you doing?
You're gonna be good if we leave.
Yeah.
Look, like I mentioned before, you're not committing a crime, right? And you're obviously aware of that, right? You obviously got concerned citizens. You're reporting, right?
But no, so, you're nice. But my thing is this. When a member of the public engages with law enforcement, we should be able to give our understanding also in such a way to you guys shouldn't be in a hurry to leave. Because if there was a real investigation, if I was breaking the law, you guys would take your time to detail a police report, what they call them, witnesses. You guys would take your time to get a full report.
Sometimes our hands are limited, right? Like I mentioned earlier, it was just a concerned citizen, so we don't have any information to go based on.
Right. I know that, but I'm saying, like, since you don't have that,
we don't. And so that the call came out. I'm matching your description. You're obviously holding a camera, you're recording. So that's all we have. That's all we have to work on right now. So that's why I'm making contact with you right now.
But for future reference, I just want you to know that is not enough to ID someone. Okay. And I think you know that. I think you probably got to update it.
It makes it easier, right? And like I mentioned, you're not in any trouble, like you had mentioned. I'm trying to make contact with you. At the end of the day, I'm doing my job.
No, you are. But see, part of your job is to enforce accurate law. If you're misinterpreting the law, now you're violating someone's rights unknowingly. You can do it knowingly or unknowingly. Like this gentleman, when you went to the car, he said, I did not have the ID. That's counterproductive to what you said. So then when I told the gentleman, well, tell her that, then he said, well, it's not my stop.
As the conversation goes on, the confusion only gets worse. The officers argue over legal terms like reasonable suspicion, probable cause, and when an arrest is lawful. One officer claims a person must show ID during a call for service, while another admits that's not always required, showing clear inconsistency. The man calmly points out that this kind of mixed messaging can put people at risk if they simply comply without understanding their rights. This moment exposes deeper problems: misunderstanding of the law, lack of clear agreement between officers, and the risks of using personal judgment without accountability. In the end, the message stands out. Knowing your rights isn't just helpful, it can be essential.
See, now we have a difference of understanding here. We got two law officers saying two different things. That is a problem. You should be on the same page. And then he said he doesn't know the exact penal code verbiage, articulable suspicion. That's another bad thing, because you have to know that to make a proper investigation or a proper arrest.
I just went into my business. Are you prior to law enforcement? Or are you just something that you just study because you like it?
I'm definitely, I've been in government.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been in government, and so.
Look, like I mentioned, you're not in any trouble, and you haven't committed a crime, right? Like I had mentioned before. You're gonna be good. We won't have to
that's not good enough.
Well, the thing is that
because you gave misinformation. You said I did not have the ID. Did you say that? And then when I said, well, tell her that, there's no proper cause. So then why did you say I have the ID?
Well, because it wasn't a casual encounter.
It just make it easy. That's not a legitimate circumstance. I want to know the right answer. So I'm trying to get you guys to get on the same page. That's what I'm trying to do. I want to know, why did you say I don't have the ID, and why are you saying I do have the ID?
I did get dispatched. He didn't get dispatched.
Doesn't matter. He's law enforcement.
Well, yeah, but what I'm saying is he probably did a roll by. I'm pretty sure he didn't get dispatched to here. I have a call. Like I have an actual call that
I mean, there's always an officer in charge for any situation, but that doesn't mean you didn't know what's going on, right?
Okay, so like I mentioned, I did get a call. I have a call was created for me to make contact with you. This isn't, like I mentioned, I just didn't casually drive up here and I was on the other side of town when this call came in.
Right.
So all I'm saying is
Okay, let me ask you this. If I would have gave you my ID, would you have ran my name?
Ran it?
Would you have ran it in the system?
No, I would have logged it in. Just that I made contact.
As the encounter continues, the officers struggle to answer even basic questions. They admit they're not checking for warrants, acknowledge there are different ways they could record the interaction, and one even admits they don't fully know certain penal codes. The man then asks an important question. How is an ordinary person supposed to know when officers are using their discretion? Instead of a clear answer, he gets silence or avoidance. This back and forth isn't just frustrating, it reveals a deeper issue. Even when officers may have good intentions, things can become risky when the law is misunderstood, applied inconsistently, or when the limits of authority aren't clear. It highlights how serious the consequences can be in these situations.
So you wouldn't have ran for warrants?
No, there's a difference. I can log it in that I made contact with, and obviously you haven't committed a crime. And running it through the NCIC, TCIC,
Right.
which you had mentioned, is totally different. I wouldn't have done that.
Now let me ask you this. How would a member of the public know when you're going to make that discretionary
You
decision?
could have asked me just like you did right now.
But
Or you could have probably heard.
I've
Okay,
done it
log
before.
down.
I've done it before. And I know, and that's the bad thing about law enforcement encounter. You know, when a member of the public says something that happened in the past, law enforcement says, well, that's a different situation. But when you guys encounter us and you say, well, you could be doing this, you could be doing that, then we can say, well, that's a different situation. So it goes both ways, you know.
Well,
Right.
yeah, every situation is different. Unfortunately, we're here because, like I mentioned before, there's the call that I received, right? And that's basically, like I mentioned, you're not in any trouble or anything like that.
You guys got cards?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can write the CAD number on there, this call for service number on there for me.
You want the cat narrative number?
Yeah. So you don't want to say are you the kind of public official that don't correct their officers when they're wrong?
I don't know if she's right or wrong.
You don't know penal code?
I do.
What's penal code for ID?
Penal code for ID?
Yeah.
That doesn't really make any sense.
What is the penal code for when a member of the public is required to identify themselves?
When they're suspected of committing a crime.
Right. Am I suspected of committing a crime? So
But like I said, we got reasonable suspicion, we got probable cause, we got mere suspicion.
all that is separate though.
Yeah. But you're rambling on about all these different things.
I'm rambling.
Yeah, you keep throwing different names.
Isn't that what you guys use to articulate an arrest or a citation? You use penal code, right?
Yeah.
So when a member of the,
In the end, the man directly addresses the real issue, public accountability. He tells the officers they need to improve their understanding of the law and its basics, not as an insult, but as an honest observation. The officers' conflicting statements, confusion about legal rules, and lack of consistency show how ordinary people can be put at risk when police act on assumptions or misunderstand the law. He reminds them that any citizen could be knowledgeable, a journalist, a lawyer, or someone who understands their rights. But when officers lack that same clarity, it leaves the public vulnerable. This points to a larger problem in the system, one that can have serious consequences for everyone.
or right. So when a member of the public brings up penal code, then they're rambling
Well, I mean, you don't really stay on one topic. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
because you guys have no reason to be here. So I have to use subject matter examples to get you guys to understand.
Well, it's like she just finished telling you, man. We do have a reason to be here just because of the call.
Now,
Right? That doesn't mean we're, telling you, hey, you're committing a crime or whatever, right? But it's just a concerned citizen, right? Our citizens are responsible.
you're Daffy Duck. You need to touch up on your law and your fundamentals, because you are a casualty to the city, and you, by the way you interpret things, it's not good for law enforcement.
That's not a case number. I stretched it out. It's just the cat narrative call that we
It's information. If you guys are here on an information call.
Yes.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
No.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Be safe, man.
Hey, and always remember, every member of the public could be an FBI agent. They could be anybody. So when you give inaccurate representations of the law, you're opening yourself up to situations and circumstances. And we don't want to do that because the taxpayers have nothing to do with it. Okay. You too.
As the encounter ends, the message is hard to ignore. Trust in law enforcement shouldn't be automatic, especially when officers may witness mistakes or even rights violations and fail to act, or admit they don't fully understand the law while still enforcing it. This is why knowing your rights is so important. It's not just helpful, it's necessary. In situations like this, awareness, documentation, and education are some of the strongest tools a person has. It's important to stay calm, ask questions respectfully, and understand what you are and aren't required to do. Because in the end, your knowledge may be the only thing that protects you from being misunderstood or treated unfairly. Stay aware, stay informed, and stay prepared.